This is the tale of Cinderella. Once upon a time, in a far-off land, lived a girl named Ella. Her parents had recently died, only to be replaced by her evil stepmother and stepsisters. All they made her do all day was work, work, work. They made her work so much that from time to time she was covered in cinders. That's how she got the nickname Cinderella. Then one day, out of the gloom, came an invitation or a message to the king's ball in help of his son's search for a new queen. All the princesses his father had shown to him simply weren't enough for the prince. Ella was so excited, but then her stepmother said to her, "Sorry, Cinderella, you can't go." Ella was devastated. She ran up to her room and said, "Oh, someone out there, help me. I just really want to go to the ball." Then, poof, something happened. Her stepmother changed her mind, and she said, "All right, Cindy, if you can complete all of your chores before sundown, which is the time we will leave for the ball, you can come to the ball with us, but you will have nothing to wear." Cinderella said, "I'm really good at sewing." And then her stepmother said, "Oh, sorry, all your sewing things are destroyed. I put them in the fire." Cinderella cried and said, "What? No, those sewing things are so expensive. I had to use all of my allowance." Her stepmother said, "Yeah, well, whatever. I'm pretty sure you can complete your chores by time. You have, let's see. Right now it's 6:30 a.m. We leave for the ball at 6:30 p.m. And you have 20 chores. I'm pretty sure you can do them all." Cinderella sobbed into her pillow and said, "Just leave, stepmother." Her stepmother cackled evilly, "Ah!" and left the room. Cinderella sobbed into her pillow so much that she caught the attention of Fairy Godmother. She appeared, poof, in Cinderella's room, and Cinderella was like, who are you?" She said, "I'm the Fairy Godmother, here to help you." Cinderella asked, "How can you help me? Everything is hopeless." She said, "Well, for starters, I'll do all of your chores." Ella said, "Wow, really?" "Yeah." And then Fairy Godmother said, "And you want to go to the ball, right? Well, you can't have these rags as your dress, so I'm going to whip up something a little more beautiful and flashy and chic." Bippity-boppity-boo! Poof! Standing in front of Ella was a mannequin wearing her dream dress. Ella said, "Wow, how do you know that was my dream dress?" And the Fairy Godmother said, "I see everyone's mind, even mine." And Ella said, "Okay, that's creepy. No need to share that with me." "And what did the dress look like, you ask? You probably don't want me to bore you, but it was periwinkle blue, covered in sapphires and white gemstones. Basically, it was the very most expensive dress anyone could ever afford." Ella said, "Wow, but what about my stepmother? She'll notice the dress." And the Fairy Godmother said, "Don't worry, it's covered with a concealment that will hide it so nobody except you can see it for what it really is. I'll come back at, 6:45 p.m. I'll do all of your chores and then you can leave for the ball." "Yay!" shouted Cinderella. And Fairy Godmother said, "Meet you in your garden at 6:45. So, a few hours later, Cinderella waved goodbye to her stepmother and said, "Have fun at the ball that I won't be at." And then she shut the door in her stepmother's face. She waited until they were out of the patio, waited some more until 6:45, went out in the garden, and yelled, "Fairy Godmother!" Poof! Fairy Godmother there. Fairy Godmother said, "Go and get your clothes." And I mean not the rags, the nice dress. So Ella went upstairs, put on her very fancy, very expensive dress, and came down. Fairy Godmother said, "Excellent, you look perfect." And she said, "Okay, now I'll do your hair. It's a mess." Bippity boppity wham! Ella's hair turned from messy curls into beautiful, elegant bun on the top of her head, or a ponytail if you would prefer that. Then Fairy Godmother said, all that's missing are your shoes." Shazam! Perfect, elegant glass slippers on Ella's feet. Ella said, "Wow, you really are a fairy godmother." And the fairy godmother said to top that off, she added a silver bow to Cinderella's hair. Fairy godmother said, "Perfect. Now, all this magic will wear off at midnight. This bow will be a warning to you. Once it loses its shimmer, it's time for you to go home." Ella said, "Okay, but how will I know if it's lost its shimmer?" "Okay," said Fairy Godmother. "Oh, I have an idea," said Fairy Godmother. "I'll make everybody notice the bow at the exact moment when it's done shimmering." "And Fairy Godmother?" asked Cinderella. "Yes? How will I get to the ball?" "Oh, totally forgot about that," said Fairy Godmother. "Get your biggest pumpkin and some mice." Ella said, "Huh?" "Just go get them," said Fairy Godmother. Okay, said Ella. She went and got 6 mice and 1 big pumpkin. Fairy Godmother said, "Bippity boppity boo." 3 horses, 2 footmen, and 1 driver appeared immediately, and the pumpkin grew from pumpkin to a pumpkin carriage. Fairy Godmother said, "Hup, hup, that's enough, off you go." And Ella was delighted, except that she wasn't really sure about all this. When she arrived at the ball, everything seemed so fancy. Everyone stared at her and gawked at her and said, "Who's that girl? She's so pretty." Even her own sisters and stepmother didn't seem to recognize her. They said, "She'll be hard to compete against for the prince's hand in marriage." When Ella arrived at the front steps, the prince was in awe. He said, "Wow, who are you? May I dance?" And then he danced with Ella, blah, blah, blah. You know the story. The clock ticks 10, 9, 8 to midnight. Ella rushes out, leaves the glass slipper on the stairs, and the prince goes looking for her the next morning. The prince searched all over the kingdom, looking for the woman with the glass slipper. At last, he arrived at Ella's door. He said, "Knock, knock," and the family opened the door. It was Ella's stepmother who answered. She said, "Oh, it's you, the prince. Come in." He said, "Whoever can fit on a slipper may marry me." So Ella's first stepsister tried it on. Her feet were too long. The second stepsister tried. Her feet were too, big. The prince was about to leave when the footman saw Ella in the corner. "Wait, that girl hasn't tried it on yet." The stepmother said, "Oh, she's not important. She couldn't have gone to the ball anyway. She's a maid." And then Ella said, "Yes, certainly. I will try." So Ella tried on the slipper and bam, it fitted perfectly. The prince said, "You are the girl." And Ella's stepmother and her stepsisters said something like, "Rawr, rawr, rawr," because they were so angry. So Ella and the prince got married, and happily ever after. Everyone in the kingdom was invited, except for 3 particular people. Do you want to know who? That's right, you guessed it. The evil stepmother and her evil daughters. They were home sweeping the floor and doing all the chores, seeing that now Ella was queen. And they said, "Oh, this is what it's like to be Cinderella." The end.